Acts 27. Shipwrecked. Festus sent Paul as a prisoner to Italy. Aristarchus, a man of Thessalonica, and Luke went along with him. Paul and the other prisoners were placed under the charge of Julius, a centurion of the Augustan band. We took a merchant ship along the coast of Asia. When we touched at Sidon the next day, Julius kindly allowed Paul to go with his friends and refresh himself. We sailed under the lee of Cyprus because the winds were against us. At Myra, the centurion found a ship of Alexandria sailing for Italy, and he put us on it. We sailed slowly for many days, and with difficulty came to fair havens. Winter was near, and Paul warned them, saying, "Men, this voyage will result in much loss of the cargo, the ship, and our lives. Do not leave here." But the centurion gave more heed to the captain and to the owner of the ship than to what Paul said. Because the haven was too small to spend the winter in, they decided to sail to a better harbor on Crete and winter there. With 276 souls aboard, they waited for good weather. When the south wind blew softly, they weighed anchor and sailed along Crete, close in to the shore. But soon, a tempestuous wind, called Euraquilo, blew so hard the ship could not sail into it. Finding a haven at a small island, they were able, with difficulty, to secure the boat, undergirding the ship. Fearing that they might be cast upon the Syrtis, a shallow area along the coast of Africa, the sailors lowered the sails and let the boat be pushed along. The next day, they began to throw the cargo overboard, and the third day they cast out the tackling of the ship. For many days they saw neither sun nor stars, so they could not use the sun or stars to determine where they were. The storm raged, taking away all hope that we would be saved. Then one day Paul said, "Men, you should have listened to me and not set sail from Crete. But I want to encourage you, for no one will die among you, although you will lose the ship. For last night I saw an angel of the God whose I am, whom I also serve. He said, 'Fear not, Paul. You must stand before Caesar. God has given you the lives of those who sail with you, but you must run aground upon an island.' I believe God will do as he says." About midnight on the 14th night, as we were driven about in the Adriatic Sea, the sailors realized we were close to land. They sounded and found 20 fathoms. A short time later, sounded again and found 15 fathoms. Afraid they would crash upon the rocks, they put out 4 anchors from the stern. Next, the sailors lowered the lifeboat, saying that they were going to lay out anchors from the bow, but they were secretly trying to escape. Paul knew they were trying to flee from the ship, and he said to the centurion and the soldiers, "If they do not stay with the ship, you cannot be saved." So the soldiers cut the ropes and let the boat fall away. As they waited for daylight, Paul urged them to eat, saying, "This is the 14th day you have been so worried that you haven't eaten anything. Eat now, for this is for your strength and safety. None of you will die." When he had said this, and taken bread, he gave thanks to God in the presence of all, and he broke it and began to eat. Then we cheered up and ate. And when they had eaten enough, they lightened the ship, throwing out the wheat into the sea. When day came, they did not recognize the place, but they could see a certain bay had a beach, so they talked together whether they could run the ship up on it. Casting off the anchors, they left them in the sea, at the same time loosening the bands on the rudders and hoisting up the foresail, made for the beach. Before they reached the beach, at a place where 2 seas met, the boat hit a reef. The bow struck and remained unmovable, while the stern began to break up by the violence of the waves. The soldiers wanted to kill all the prisoners, lest any of them should escape. But the centurion, desiring to save Paul, stopped them. He ordered all who could swim to jump overboard and swim to the land, and the rest were to follow on planks and other pieces of the ship. And so it came to pass that we all escaped safe to the land.